What is going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Big 12 Insiders Game Day Edition Live. We are getting you set up for all of your football Saturday, man. Just your football Saturday. I think it's going to be a good Saturday in the Big 12. Got started off last night with a good win. We'll talk about that a little bit. BYU going on the road to SMU. It was a good football game. I was actually able to attend. Not a ton of offense, but here's the thing about BYU, and like I said, we'll get into that in a second. They played pretty physical, so maybe they've turned a corner. Maybe they have actually turned a corner, but let's get into all of this, man. So, look, the Big 12, I think, again, has an opportunity today. There's some football games that are going on that I believe if they win, look, it's not going to set them at the top of the food chain, but it's going to let everybody know, look, the Big 12 is a little bit better of a conference than what they're being portrayed at. So let's dig in. First things first, like I mentioned, we're live getting you set up for Saturday. I appreciate everybody showing up. Again, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Big 12 Insiders, we're growing, and it's all because of you guys, man. It's all because of you guys. So I appreciate you all guys being in here. First up, last night, BYU, that's a good win. That's a good win. Now, we're going to see how good SMU actually is. I'm not sure SMU is, shall I say, and put this nicely, as good as what SMU thinks they are. Let's just say that. I'm not sure they're as good as what they believe they are. Having said all of that, it doesn't matter. That's a good victory. That is a good victory. On the road. Look, SMU definitely has more athletes than BYU. They had more speed than BYU, but BYU beat them up. They beat them up physically, and that was one of the things that BYU had trouble with in the Big 12 last year is playing physical football. Now, I know what some people are going to say, and that, well, hey, come on, Big B. They're playing against SMU, who's going to have the same problems going into the ACC. They're not going to be physical enough. That might be true. I'm not saying that you're wrong. But what I am saying is if BYU had problems with physicality, they took it out on SMU. That they're trying to get to the point to where they can be a physical football team, kind of in the old mode of what BYU, just getting back into that or getting into it. But, yeah, it was a physical football game. Now, their offense, it didn't look good. I mean, at halftime, I was wondering if they should go to Gary Bohannon. They never did. But it just didn't look good. Let's just say that. It just did not look good. They couldn't move the ball. And it's not – look, and I'll say this. It wasn't because SMU had this crazy good defense either. Just inaccurate passes. Guys were open. Couldn't run the football. Now, things look different. They had two running backs get hurt. Things look way different when they couldn't run the ball. But like I said, they were out physicaling them early on offense. All that changed. But on the defensive side of the ball, yeah, they pushed SMU around. Give them credit. Give them credit. I know a lot of people don't want to give BYU credit. I'm not really even sure why, but you got to give them credit. They did their thing last night. Like I said, that's a good win. We had marked that as being one of the big non-conference games. Again, I know it's not against ranked teams. That's a good win for BYU. Good for them. So let's set the stage for today. Who do we got? First up, Arkansas is going to Oklahoma State. I don't really think this one's going to be all that close. I think Oklahoma State is way better. I know Arkansas scored 1 million points last week. They might as well have been playing a JV high school team. Arkansas Pine Bluff, terrible. Terrible. So bottom line is I like what Oklahoma State's putting together. I think Oklahoma State is going to win this game going away. I think they are that good. I really do. I think they are that good. Look, South Dakota State is a good football team. They are. They're absolutely a good football team. I'm not saying if they had to play in the Big 12 week in and week out that they'd finish with a winning record or be near the top. I'm just saying they're a competitive football team. In Oklahoma State, that game, it was 44-20, and it wasn't that close. I mean, they had them whipped. By the middle of the third quarter, that game was over. So good for them. Good for them. But I just think Oklahoma State's going to roll in this game. Next up, Kansas State at Tulane. Look, Kansas State's going to have to open up the offense a little bit more. And I understand first game, you're playing Tennessee Martin. You don't want to expose a whole lot. You don't want Avery Johnson to run a whole lot. I understand. This is going to be a game where you're going to have to do more just to win. I'm not even saying it's going to be a struggle, which it could be, but I'm just saying to win the game, you can't run the same offense that you did last week. That's not going to be possible. Not to mention, you tried that 2 years ago at home with a team that won the Big 12 title, and you got beat by Tulane. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So while it's not ideal to show everything, and I don't think they have to show everything, they're going to have to open the offense up. I know you don't want to. I know you're trying to keep Avery Johnson as healthy as possible, but this is football, people. Guys are going to take hits, and, you can't protect everyone all the time. That's just not how this thing works. So I think they open it up. I also think K-State's defense is going to start fast and physical. They're going to need to take the crowd out of it. I think they're going to be hyped for that game down there in Tulane. I'm not saying their stadium has 10 million people. I'm just saying the fans that they do have are going to be very, very rowdy for this football game. It's not often that they get a Power 4 team to come into their stadium. They had one last year in Ole Miss, and they had them on the ropes. So they got K-State in again this year, and they're looking to win. I think K-State wins the game, though. I think they do. Pitt at Cincinnati. Look, Cincinnati fans, I apologize for picking you last or having you last in the power rankings. I apologize for only moving you up one spot this week. I need to see more. I just got to see more. One thing that will help is this week, look, how do you not root? How does everybody in the country not root for Dante Corleone? How do you not root for that guy? Look, blood clots at any age is a bad deal. Blood clots is just crazy. But to have them at his young of an age playing football is scary stuff. It's just scary stuff, man. And he's cleared. He's able to play. I'm glad he's able to play. I don't think Pitt's any good at all. And I'm not sure Cincinnati is. I wasn't convinced after last week's game, but we'll see. We'll see. But I do think Cincinnati wins this football game. And again, Big 12, ACC. You may say, well, it's bottom dwellers. Well, whatever. Our bottom is better than yours. Okay? Period. End of story. Let's move on. Baylor at Utah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to talk this game into existence and being close. I'm trying to do that, but I can't get there. I can't see this game being close. I think Utah whips them. I think their defense shows up and shuts down anything that Baylor's trying to do. I really do. They just stop anything that Baylor's trying to do. It's a game between conference foes, but it's not a conference game. I just think Baylor is just better. I do. I think Utah is just better. I apologize. Utah is just better. And they're going to show it. It's a 14-point spread. I took Utah plus 14 or minus 14, excuse me. And I don't think it's going to be that close. So I don't. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is a game. Here's what I will say about this game. If Baylor keeps this game close, Baylor is way better than what a lot of us thought. I'll tell you that. If Baylor can keep this game between 7 or anywhere within 10 points, and I don't mean they score a late touchdown when the game's over. I'm talking about if they can keep this game within 10 points, Baylor is way better than what we thought. I will wholeheartedly say that. Because Utah is really good. They're good. So we'll see how good Baylor is. We will see how good Baylor is. Here's a game, man. I've been trying my best to talk everybody into thinking that Iowa State can beat Iowa. Nobody's taking that bait. I'm the only one that's taking that bait, people. I'm the only one that believes Iowa State can win this game on the road. Nobody else thinks they can. I'm going Iowa State. I'm going to ride that train, man. Here's the thing. You know how big a game it would be for the Big 12? Because for some reason, Iowa's ranked again. How they're ranked, I have no idea. I have no clue. But if Iowa State can go in there, number one, Iowa State will be ranked if they beat them. But again, it's a middle-of-the-road Big 12 team beating what a lot of people think are in the upper, not the echelon of the Big 10, but in the upper echelon of the Big 10. Yeah, people believe that about Iowa. You know, they're not Iowa State or Oregon or Michigan, but they're right below that. That's what people believe. So if Iowa State can go win that game, huge win for the Big 12 and for Iowa State. I'm rooting. Not sure it's going to happen, but I'm rooting. Albany at West Virginia. No lie. If West Virginia doesn't win this game by 40 points, I'll be the first to tell you they are absolutely the fraud of the week. Fraud of the week. Last week, the fraud of the week, I'm not even sure that we can say Houston is the fraud of the week because a lot of people didn't think they were very good. So that's why I didn't put one. But you know who the fraud of the week was last week? Texas Tech. Oh, my God. But we'll get into that. Sam Houston at UCF. Why this game has a line, I still don't know. UCF should roll. UCF should absolutely roll. So, they played well last week. They're the more physical team. They're going to have way more athletes. I think this game is a walk. Minus 22 UCF. If you're a bettor, that doesn't sound horrible. That does not sound horrible. Kansas at Illinois. A lot of people are thinking that this Kansas-Illinois game is going to be close. I'm one that doesn't believe it. I think Kansas is much better than Illinois. I know it's on the road. I know they're going to have a sold-out crowd. I think Kansas's defense is going to be much better than what people believe, and anything better than Illinois is not going to be able to do a ton. And while it might take Kansas a minute to get rolling on offense, they will, and that'll be the end of it. I just think Kansas is that much better. I don't know. Yeah, I think Kansas is just that much better right now, people. That's just my personal opinion. 6. Minus 6 for KU. I took that one all day long. Again, if you're better, that one doesn't sound horrible. I think Kansas is much better than Illinois. So I think it's going to be – I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close. My man Jeremy here, he says Kansas, Illinois will be a bit closer than I like. I don't think so, man. I don't. I don't think it's going to be closer. I think Kansas whips them. I do. So let's move on. I don't know if you think this is the game of the day or not. Colorado at Nebraska. Here's the thing. I think Nebraska's going to win. Colorado will cover, I believe, because I think they'll score a late touchdown. It's 7.5. So Colorado plus 7.5. I think they score late when the game's over, 10, 12-point game, and they score a touchdown late. Okay. But I think Nebraska wins. I think Nebraska is going to be way too physical for what Colorado is trying to do. Unless they've made a vast improvement from week 1 to week 2 on their offense and defensive lines, I don't think they move the football. I don't. I think Nebraska is going to put a ton of pressure on them. They're going to sack Shedeur Sanders a ton. And if they can't run the ball, which I don't think they're going to be able to, Nebraska's going to be able to handle them. That's just what I think. And as much of the pleasantries that have been going on, that, both coaches loving each other and how much they respect each other, you're telling me Nebraska doesn't remember what Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime and all them were saying about him last year? You're telling me they don't remember that? Yeah, they remember. And if they have a chance to run the score up, they're going to do it. So, I mean, I want this one to be close, but I'm not sure. But I think Nebraska I think they physically beat up Colorado. I think they physically beat them up. So let's see. What else we got, man? Houston at Oklahoma. This is another one that's got a line. I don't know why it does. It's minus, or it's Houston plus 29.5. If it was plus 40, I would take it. Okay. But I didn't. I took the over under on this one. It's 49.5. 49.5 on the over. And I took the over. And the reason being is I think Oklahoma's going to blow them out. I think Oklahoma's, if UNLV scored 27 points, Oklahoma might get 50. And if Houston can score at all, then this thing is going over. So to me, that was an easy one. But I think Oklahoma blows out Houston. Houston's got a long way to go. I love Willie Fritz. Got a long way to go. Long Island. TCU should be ashamed of themselves for playing Long Island. I didn't even know Long Island was a university. I'll be honest with you. No line there. If TCU doesn't win by 45 points, they're in trouble. Northern Arizona, same thing. We know Arizona can score. If Northern Arizona scores 14 points against Arizona, we got a problem with Arizona. I'm going to say that without any hesitation. If Northern Arizona scores 14 or more points against Arizona, Arizona's got a problem. Their defense, we saw their defense last week. It looked pathetic. They got to fix it. If they're going to compete in the Big 12, they got to fix that. Texas Tech, Washington State. Ooh. Tech is, right now they're a 1.5 point underdog. I'm not jumping off the Texas Tech bandwagon just yet, people. I'm not going to do it. Look, Texas Tech absolutely was the fraud of the week in the Big 12 last week. The absolute fraud of the week. They showed no defense. They gave up. They showed no resistance. None to Abilene Christian. But I'm not jumping off the bandwagon just yet. Maybe they were looking ahead to this game because they know it's a bigger game. I don't know. But I think we're going to find out. Pullman's not an easy place to go play. It's definitely not an easy place to go win. And all Texas Tech has heard all week is about how bad they were. That's all they've heard, about how bad they were. Well, here's your opportunity. This is your opportunity to prove everybody wrong and say, you know what? We're not as bad as what you think. We're much better. It's time to get this thing done. So I like Tech. Give me Tech plus 1.5. Again, if you're a betting person, that one doesn't seem horrible. Or what's really not horrible, over under on this one, 66.5. I think it goes over. They have, I think each team might be 50 at halftime. So it might be 50 at halftime, but we're going to find out, man. We are going to find out. And then the last one, Mississippi State at Arizona State. Ton of people jumped on the Arizona State bandwagon after last week. I was one of them. I have no qualms about saying that, but it was Wyoming. And Wyoming lost a ton from the year before. That team that beat Tech last year early, it's not the same football team, not the same coaching staff. So a lot is different. But you do have to give Arizona State credit. They played physical. They played fast. And that's what you want. And they went out and whipped them. Different animal coming to town this week, though. Mississippi State, they got some players. They got some guys that can do some stuff. We'll see what happens. So, Arizona State minus 6.5. That just seems like a lot to me. I think Arizona State wins, but I think Mississippi State covers. I think the game's going to be close. I think it'll be a nail biter. So let's get into some of these questions, man. Anything you guys want to talk about, say, whatever, throw them in the comments section. We'll pull them up and we will get this thing going. Ask Big B anything. My man Jeremy again. It's a coin flip. ASU, Mississippi State. You're probably right. You're probably right. It's probably a coin flip. So, oh, man, serial killer. Saying that OU's going to run the score up. Why are they going to run the score up? I don't know. I think Venables has too much respect for Willie Fritz to just run the score up. I think they whip them. Don't get me wrong. They're going to blow them out, but I don't think they're going to run the score up. I don't think so. What else we got here? Yeah, the Kansas, I don't know. Daniel's going to make it through the game. I mean, I don't know, people. I think we got to stop talking about Jalen Daniels being hurt. I think we got to stop talking about that because, and let me explain to you why. It isn't that it's not a fact that Jalen Daniels has been hurt the last 2 years. He has. Those are just facts. Hasn't made it through a season. But the talk now is almost like people are hoping that he's going to get hurt or wishing that he's going to get hurt or it's just a matter of time. Hey, man, nobody wants anybody to get hurt, okay? And he's out there playing. Just if he gets hurt, that happens, okay? But I don't want people, and I'm not saying serial killer that's what you're hoping for. I'm just saying people in general. Let's just talk about how good he is. Talk about that. We don't have to talk about him being hurt, or we don't have to talk about, well, if he can make it through. It's football. Guys get hurt, okay? That's what happens. And every conversation with Kansas can't just always be, well, if Jalen Daniels stays healthy. Come on. We got to be better than that. You know, give the guy his due. Give the guy, not to mention, he's really good. So, Hey, man, Jeremy, we're glad we're doing this show too, man. I am glad. I appreciate you being in here. We're just trying to mix it up and have a little bit of fun, man. So, what do you think the score of the K-State game is going to be? I think K-State put some points up. I think they do. I think they put some points up. I think they get into the 40s, like 44-20, 44-17, somewhere around there. I think that's where we get with this game with K-State. And I think they're going to need to put some points up. Again, they got to open the offense up. They can't just save everything. I mean, you got to open up the playbook to beat Tulane. I mean, I'll just flat out say it. If K-State's offense is limited, if they limit themselves like they did last week, they won't beat Tulane. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Coach Kleiman has learned his lesson. I think he's learned his lesson. So, let's see. And now this is an interesting question. Is YouTube TV the consensus temporary substitute? I don't think it should be temporary. I'll just tell you right now. I don't think YouTube TV should be temporary for you. I'll say this, and I don't mind throwing this out there. I'm not a sponsor for YouTube TV. I don't promote them. It saved me $200 from going from DirecTV to YouTube TV. $200. And I get everything that I want. Every channel, all the stuff that I want. It's the exact same thing that I had with DirecTV. I saved $200 a month. And that doesn't even include what I had to pay on top to get NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, granted, you got to pay the same thing at YouTube TV. Actually, it's a little less. But yeah, that my monthly bill is $200 less by switching over. And to be able to have the quad view, you're telling me a guy that loves football or sports in general, but now football's here, I can watch 4 different football games at once? I mean, how does it get better than that? You can literally watch 4 football games at one time with YouTube TV. I don't think there's any question that YouTube is better. And I don't know anything about Hulu Live. Can you watch 4 football games at once on Hulu Live? Because if you can't, it finds it hard for me to believe that it's better. Hard for me to believe. First of all, when we're talking about better, I think that's kind of relative. I think it's more of a preference. You know what I'm saying? Because how is YouTube better than Hulu or Sling? And how is Hulu better than you? Vice versa. How are they just better? The reason that I say YouTube TV is better, I just mentioned it. I can watch 4 football games at once. 4 of them. All at once. All live at the same time. If you can do that somewhere else, okay. So, and Hulu Live has all the ESPN and stuff baked in. Hey, man, I'm willing to be able to watch 4 football games at one time. I'm willing to pay the extra $10, $12, or I think it's $15 for my Hulu bundle. That's just me. That's just me. You know, I can not go to lunch one time a month, and there's my $15. I'll figure it out. But if you like it the other way, though, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I think it's just all preference. So I think it's all a preference. So any upset that you guys see today in these Big 12 games that we talked about, anybody that's going to upset. First of all, does anybody think that Colorado is going to beat Nebraska? Let's start there. I don't think they're going to win. I think they cover, but I don't think they're winning. I think Nebraska just whips them up front. But I don't see a whole lot of Tech over Washington State technically would be an upset. But other than that, and Iowa State, I'm rooting for Iowa State, man. I'm rooting for Jeremy. Come on, man. I get it. I know. I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm not calling that upset, man. I'll be happy if it happened, but I'm not calling that upset, man. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Not. I got to see something from Baylor. So, let's see. I hope all Big 12 teams win except KU. Hey, you're a K-State fan. I can understand that. But you know what? Which brings me to this, and then we'll shut this thing down. I love the fact that rivals root against rivals. I love the fact that, hey, you're in the same conference. I want you to win, but you're my rival. Hey, keep it in the conference. Look, I'm 48 years old. You can call me old school if you want to. That's fine. But when in the hell has it been okay for you to root for your rival just because they are in your conference? It is never okay. It is never okay to root for your rival under any circumstances. Well, if they won the national championship and they beat me, at least we got beat by the national champion. I don't care. I don't care. And neither should you. Who cares if they won the national title? I don't want to lose to them, and I don't want them to win anything ever. So it's good to see that, man. I'm that guy. Not rooting for my rival. I don't care what. I do not care. Not doing it. So, all right, man. So I appreciate y'all. Remember, if you haven't already, remember to follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. I appreciate you guys on YouTube. Come in, like, subscribe, comment. More importantly, I love comments. I love going back and forth with you guys, man. It just makes my day. So I appreciate all the support. Thank you, guys. We will be back on Monday doing our recap of exactly what happened. So make sure you guys tune in on Monday, and basically Monday through Friday. Tuesday, our power rankings come out. Wednesday, we've got talking with our publishers from 2 individual schools. Thursday, I'm going to make sure you guys start tuning in to ESPN GameDay, where we got 4 different publishers on live, or not live, but we have 4 different publishers on, talking to them about what's going on in the Big 12 and the games coming up that week. And then Friday, we're doing our betting. So make sure everybody tunes in next week. And from here on out, until then, I appreciate you guys. Love you.